The Rainbow Warrior bombing was a significant and historical event that took place in 1985 at Auckland, New Zealand. The bombing targeted the Rainbow Warrior ship, belonging to the environmental organization Greenpeace, and was carried out by French agents. The French government orchestrated this attack to safeguard its nuclear tests being conducted in the South Pacific, which Greenpeace had been protesting against at the time. Greenpeace, a global environmental organization, aimed to protect the environment and raise awareness against nuclear testing and its devastating effects. The Rainbow Warrior ship, which became an iconic symbol for Greenpeace, was used for the organization's anti-nuclear protest campaigns. The ship had specifically been stationed in the South Pacific to protest against French nuclear tests being conducted in that region. On July 10, 1985, the Rainbow Warrior ship was docked in Auckland Harbour when 2 bombs were placed on the ship by French agents. The explosion occurred while there were few people aboard, but tragically, one person, Fernando Pereira, a photographer, was killed, and another crew member was injured. The explosion caused significant damage to the ship, which almost sank immediately. This bombing stirred global outrage and became a significant turning point in the fight against nuclear testing. The bombing was later revealed to have been orchestrated by the French government. At the time, France was conducting nuclear tests in the South Pacific, and Greenpeace had been vocal in its opposition to these tests. To suppress protests and stop Greenpeace's efforts, France carried out the bombing. The French government later admitted its involvement but justified the act as a necessary measure to protect its nuclear program. In the aftermath of the bombing, New Zealand authorities launched an investigation and quickly identified the 2 French agents involved in the attack, Dominique Prieur and Alain Maffat, both of whom were operatives of France's Secret Service, DGSE, Direction Générale de la Sécurité Extérieure. The 2 agents were arrested by the New Zealand authorities. However, the French government refused to allow legal proceedings in New Zealand and instead negotiated their release, sending the agents back to France. The French government acknowledged the bombing but claimed it was an unsanctioned mission aimed at protecting their nuclear testing operations. The Rainbow Warrior bombing sparked a massive international outcry. Relations between New Zealand and France soured, and diplomatic tensions soared. New Zealand condemned the act as illegal and unethical. Protests against the French government erupted worldwide, and Greenpeace's visibility and support grew exponentially. This bombing also gave a significant boost to the global anti-nuclear movement, increasing awareness of the environmental impact of nuclear tests. Following the bombing, global efforts to curb nuclear weapons testing intensified. Greenpeace leveraged the attack to amplify its campaigns for the abolition of nuclear weapons and to advocate for stronger environmental protections. The bombing highlighted the need for stricter regulations against nuclear testing, and it brought attention to the long-term environmental consequences of such activities. The Rainbow Warrior bombing became a landmark event in the global environmental and anti-nuclear movements. It led to an increased awareness of nuclear weapons testing and the environmental dangers they posed. The attack, while damaging to New Zealand-France relations, ultimately strengthened the global resolve to reduce nuclear arms and protect the environment. Greenpeace used the incident as a platform to further its mission, and it became a key chapter in the history of environmental activism. The Rainbow Warrior bombing remains a critical event in world history, demonstrating the intersection of environmental movements and military strategies. It showed how powerful protests can shape global politics and influence government decisions. This event played a crucial role in the continued efforts for nuclear disarmament and environmental protection. It stands as a reminder that environmental movements can have a profound effect on international relations and policymaking,